Very difficult, if you're a member of the British monarchy right now, particularly in the brand new reign of which we are of King Charles III. You see, his mother, our late and wonderful monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, went through some rather turbulent times, as one can imagine. 70 years on the throne, so many decades, so many changes, and literally she sort of rode them all with great aplomb, seemingly not getting into anything or any sort of murky waters throughout. Don't know how she managed it, do you, when you think about it now? A very clever manoeuvre by our late monarch, seemingly because we never truly knew her opinions on anything. The same can't be said, of course, of her son, King Charles. He's already been rather vocal, but you can understand that on both sides. He's waited a long time for the top job. And then in the intervening years, he's had issues that he's wanted to make public, whether it be architecture, the climate, green agenda, all sorts of things. Recently, of course, he had to, shall we say, make note of the fact the links to slave trade, and in particular certain elements regarding people of the monarchy or indeed attachments. I don't know about you, I'm a great believer in that history is history. You learn from it, you literally read about it, understand it, and move on. No one can change the past, no matter how much people wish to bang that particular drum. But it's now interesting also to note that recently the diversity inclusion rate of anyone working for the British monarchy has sadly, allegedly, fallen to under 10%. As we mentioned before, this is really tricky, seemingly because the people of those particular backgrounds are not coming forward for those individual roles. Don't understand why, not quite sure. Whichever way, no one is to blame, but obviously there's always groups that wish to do this. Now it's been revealed, and as ever we have to say allegedly, but it has been revealed in the mainstream media that inclusivity training and all of that sort of thing has been undertaken by many senior teams working across historic royal palaces. That's a good thing. But the footnote to that particular story is that no senior member, allegedly, of the British monarchy has also undertaken this particular training. Well, Neil, what do you think to that? I can hear many people cry. Well, personally, I think if you are a senior member of the British monarchy, one would hope that you would have the civility and manners and the nonce to realise exactly what to do in anyone's company. So why you need to be told not to say certain words or indeed offend anybody in any way remains to be seen. When you think about the late Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, he did that really as a laugh to break tension. Nobody truly was offended by him because people just liked him. Of course, there's always weenie mally staff that are ready to say, oh no, we never saw any senior members of the British monarchy. I've never seen a senior member of the British monarchy be rude and in any untoward way to anybody while out in the public domain. If it was in the private domain, I'm sure in these very challenging times we would have heard about it. So again, it just seemed rather negative to highlight a certain story to make out that the British monarchy can't be bothered. Guess what, though? According to a very good source, both Meghan and Harry want to highlight this particular point, again, allegedly, basically saying that these are the problems that are inherent within the British monarchy. Harry spoke about that, so did Meghan in various interviews about the issues that she'd had. A footnote to that, though, is an esteemed broadcaster came forward recently and was very much very vocal about Meghan's inclusion, etc. Trevor Phillips has been, as I say, a respected broadcaster and writer for many decades. He basically said that Meghan had to learn how to be black once she'd arrived at the British monarchy, causing, as one can imagine, a lot of consternation, but more importantly, no litigious aspect from the former royals. Seemingly, they're quite happy to have a bash at the British monarchy, but when someone actually calls them outright with certain facts, then they will not want to take on Mr. Trevor Phillips. So whichever way you look at it, an interesting story, but again, all negative against the British monarchy. I believe for one that this truly is not at all necessary. As ever, I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Neil Sean in the very heart of Yorkshire.